Hollywood taking a page from that film that was Passion of the Christ. It came out in 2004. That had Mel Gibson behind it. But Hollywood is now getting a little more religion. They are all signing on to the same book, specifically one book, and that is the Bible for some of their new films. Orden, she's with me right here on lunch break. She's been reporting on this. Fascinating, because for a while in Hollywood, talking about religious stories in the Bible was sort of like a no-no. They couldn't make money off it.
That's right. These sorts of films were very popular in the 50s, even into the late 60s, but they're very expensive for the studios to produce. So once they started losing money on them, they left them alone. Yeah.
What has changed, and we'll get into some of the films that are coming out in just a second, but what has changed, Erica, in the cultural zeitgeist out there in Hollywood and just in with the general population that's made them think, this time we can make money?
Well, I think it's less about what's changed in the zeitgeist and more that the studios have realized that there are a couple of things at work here. One is that the source material is in the public domain, so they don't have to pay for licensing and those sorts of things, like as they do when they make movies based on comic book characters.
Right.
Another is that these are stories that are known worldwide, and they don't have to introduce this material or these characters or the subject matter to audiences. People are already very familiar with it.
Familiar with the characters. It's
Yes.
a good point. I mean, in the Bible, I assume that's public domain. You can go in, you can pick anybody out. You don't have to option it or anything
Right.
along those lines.
Right.
Some of the films coming out, walk us through which of the characters from the Bible we're going to be seeing on the big screen.
Sure. Well, Paramount has Noah coming out in 2014. It's a huge...
As in ark.
Yes.
As in the ark.
There's an ark.
As in the ark.
Yes. It's a huge $125 million epic starring Russell Crowe.
I could see Russell on an ark.
Yeah.
They had to build a pretty big ark, I would imagine, for something like that. Must be expensive.
They did. It's about 150 feet long, and they built it. It's in Oyster Bay, New York.
Oh, wow. So if the apocalypse happens, you and I are good, we'll just get out to Oyster Bay and
Right.
get on that ark.
Exactly.
So that's one. Noah. Who
That's
else?
one. There are two Moses movies in development. One is at Warner Brothers, and the other is at Fox. And there's also Sony has a movie in development called The Redemption of Cain, which is based on Cain and Abel.
And Mary, Mother of Christ?
Mary, Mother of Christ is another film in development that will be distributed by Lionsgate, and that is being billed as a prequel to The Passion of the Christ.
What are some of the risks with this? I mean, I would imagine, you have limited source material with the Bible, right? I mean, they don't exactly give you a huge narrative arc there. I mean, you have sort of the outlines, but they have to take some creative license. Do you risk offending your core audience if you misstep?
You do, and a lot of these studios recognize that, and they're taking some steps. They're bringing in biblical scholars or test screening for religious audiences to try to prevent, backlash or any controversy over some of the ways they interpret the core story.
Who do they think the core viewer will be? Will it be people who, identify themselves as religious, who go to church regularly, or do they think they can get a broader audience the way Passion of the Christ attempted to do?
These are really films aimed at mainstream four-quadrant, as they say in Hollywood, audiences. So they do want to attract religious audiences, but they're aimed at pretty broad swath.